There was a time when I thought I will never be able to move on from this person.
Yeah.
But today I sit here and I'm like, shit, I've done it.
I think even the people who stay for such a short time, they teach you so much about them, about life, about you, and everything happens for a reason.
Love has become so transactional instead of like actually being in love. And why are we headed towards transactions? Today we have Saania Saxena, who's the author of this amazing book, Teenage Chronicles. I love Coldplay, and this is one of the lines he says in one of his songs. If you never try, you'll never know.
Yes, I think when we get so used to someone being around us and then suddenly they are not there anymore, it feels like a vacuum. It feels like we'll not be okay without them.
Did you forgive someone who broke your heart?
Yes. Like, I don't believe in holding grudges and everything, but I feel like forgiveness is important because you...
Like suddenly imagine someone you've been with all this while, you're spending all your days with them. Suddenly that person is no more in your life. We all talk about breakups, but no one talks about the breakup that we have with our friends. I think losing friendship is harder than a breakup nowadays. So welcome back to another episode of Unsaid Feeling with Shanky. In today's episode, we cover everything emotions, whether it's your friendship, whether it's your insecurities of feeling low in life, feeling high in life, succeeding in life. We cover it all in this particular episode. So if you are someone looking to find the answers to all of these questions, then this is for you. Keep watching and keep learning. So hi Saania.
Hello, Shanky.
How are you doing?
I'm great. I'm so great.
How do you feel coming back to India from America?
I feel like I just want to be here. I don't want to leave. I don't want to leave home. Or showered with love from family and eating Indian food.
Welcome to India, first of all.
Yes,
Okay, welcome
thank
to
you.
India. I hope you're enjoying being in India.
I'm having a blast.
So with that, Saania, we will start with about you.
Yes.
A little bit about you, who you are, what you've been up to,
Yes.
and the surprise that we want to tell everyone about is about your book.
Yes.
Definitely. So if you can just quickly tell us, what is your backstory, Saania?
Yes. So I have always been somebody who's so, like ever since I stepped foot in school, I felt like, oh my God, something is like seriously wrong with me. And then I would always turn to my digital diary, and that's where my love for writing sort of grew. And then over time, I just wanted to make something really, really like out of it, give a holistic appeal. And then I was like, okay, I'm going to write a book at the age of 16.
Amazing.
Yeah. And then even in this whole India trip, I've been doing a lot of book tour and
Right.
everything. I feel like I just, when you travel, I've also traveled to over 50 countries.
Wow.
Yeah. A lot of them I don't remember because I was like a baby, but a lot of travels have been in the recent past, the Norway, this Scandinavian countries and everything. And I feel like that definitely turns you into somewhat of a storyteller. Like a globetrotter. So traveling has been such a huge part of my life, which is also like ingrained in my book as well, like so many stories to tell.
Do you think traveling changes your perspective about life?
100%. I think it's really interesting to see like what's considered normal in one area, part of the world is actually not normal at all in another. Like even India versus America, like in India you can expect to be, share from a person's plate, like when you order food. In America, sometimes people would be offended if you do that. Like you're not supposed to do that. Like what's yours is yours, what's theirs is theirs. So I feel like just seeing those kind of things teaches you a lot about different cultures, and also like being empathetic to that culture, because now I know that they don't appreciate it, then okay, I won't do it.
So you've just gotten used to that kind of culture now.
Yeah, you get used to it. You just you don't want to make things awkward for anyone, so then you just get used to it.
Amazing, yeah.
Yeah.
Crazy. So with that, Saania, so you wrote your first book. Is this
Yes.
your first book, right?
It is, yeah.
You wrote
Teenage
your first
Chronicles.
Teenage Chronicles. Tell us a little bit about that book. Who is this book for, and what did you cover in this book?
Yeah.
And also, okay, that question I'll ask you later. Let's start with this. Like,
Yes.
what is this book all about?
So my book, Teenage Chronicles, it's like a deep dive into the wild, like roller coaster of emotions we feel, not only as teenagers, as young people. So I would say it's like aimed at like 12 to 24, like just young adults.
Right.
I cover, like, each chapter talks about a different emotion. So I start with insecurities, which is like when you feel like you're a potato in a world of French fries. It's like, am I good enough? Am I smart enough? Like, it's always a internal battle. We can talk about it more because I always felt insecure about my own self. But so that's the first chapter, and then I talk about love is the last one. How do you deal with your crush not liking you?
I think that is so much needed, yeah.
So much needed. So everybody goes through that. How do you distinguish between, just butterflies in your stomach versus, okay, this is actually true love? So I cover all of that. And then there's jealousy. We all have become green-eyed monsters in the past for various reasons. And then happiness, which is like, I see it as this rare unicorn that we all chased. But then when we are bombarded with other emotions like anger and all that, we kind of lose sight of that. So basically, each chapter talks about a different emotion.
Wow.
And then I gave my like personal introspection, my experiences as well. But then I wanted to make it a little more fun. So then I added 5 fictional characters.
Amazing.
So these fictional characters, they're not just like Hawa mein. They're actually adaptations from my social circle.
Right.
Like one
Yeah.
character can be a manifestation of like 2 people I know.
I got it.
Yeah, or even myself. I relate a lot to one of the characters, Zoya. So I have these 5 characters, and then through their experiences, we can like learn a thing or two about emotions.
Amazing.
And then I also end the chapter with a scientific sort of background behind, because emotions are a lot. They're so
Absolutely.
deep. There are so many studies done behind each one. So I end with that. And then also a big part of my book is, a theme of my book is self-discovery.
Wow.
So I did try to end a book with reflective questions, like little tick box, like a checklist, just because I feel like when we even gain like nuggets of self-wisdom or things about ourselves, then we become more aware or more in control of
Absolutely.
what we feel.
What
So
we feel, yes.
that's definitely, these are the contents of my
So
book.
I want to understand, so whatever you've written in this book, Saania, how much is your personal experience? I'm sure a lot is coming from your personal experience,
Yeah.
whatever you have felt in life, whatever you have gone through.
Yeah.
So how much is it from your personal experience?
I feel like most of it is my personal experience because, like I said, first I started with this blog that just was such a big part of my life. So when I was writing the book, I was like, I really want to be real and raw and unfiltered. Because I wasn't even thinking that how am I going to be seen across, or like am I going to be judged. I just like let everything out in pages. So it was a lot about my life. Obviously, I also asked like my friends, for instance, for their collective wisdom, because
Right.
I did like surveys and everything saying, okay, I feel this way. How do you go about feeling? What do you do when you're anxious? Is it different from how I feel? So I did try to incorporate like every like
Right.
facet, but a lot of my own life is
Right.
is major.
And when did you like think of writing this book? Did you go through something very major in life and that is when you decided to start this book? What was it?
The main like that itch that I wanted to scratch, it was when COVID hit, because I was like,
Okay.
we are home. I do not want to waste my time. Like we were we were all in quarantine and lockdown. I was like, I really want to do something that I've been wanting to do for a while, and if I don't do it now, then it'll never happen. So then literally, it was like a good year. I used to make like at least 1 or 2 chapters every day, and then it just kind of happened.
Nice. And I think the whole idea of Teenage Chronicles is again,
Yeah.
end of the day, what I can figure out,
Yeah.
Saania, is that you want to help people.
Yes.
Is that true?
Yes,
Yes?
because I do feel like emotions are so universal. And the first thing, at least I felt as a teenager, was like, I'm alone in going through this, but I wasn't. And so
Wow.
I really want people to read it and be like, okay, there are like a whole world of people that are feeling the same thing as I am, and just helping them see that.
And how does it feel, Saania? Like from your heart, deep down there, how do you feel when you see someone is actually getting something out of what you have done, whatever you are doing? How do you
Yeah.
feel about that?
I just feel like, okay, this is why I did what I did. And when I see that it's actually touching hearts, like some of the really vulnerable things that I shared about myself, the fact that when I see that others can relate to it, I'm like, even I feel so good, Because I'm like, I thought I was alone feeling this way, but the fact that they are feeling this way, like, what more could I ask for? So it's really a priceless feeling.
I think you went to Delhi to
Yeah,
Ashoka as well,
Ashoka
right? How was your
University.
experience there?
Yeah, it was so fun. I loved meeting. So this was part of Ashoka's well-being center. I got to meet all the psychology professors who sort of control that and organize that. And then I got to meet a lot of Ashoka students online and offline. Like so many people joined in on Zoom. So many people were in person. And then even there, just talking about, because I know university life is so stressful.
Yes.
But even there, we were just talking in a safe space about well-being, about emotions. I loved seeing Ashoka's campus and how much they like value mental health. Because university, you always think that it was just studies, studies, studies. But the fact that they had a whole area dedicated to, when students feel stressed, they come to us they ask us
Right.
questions. I was like, every university should have this.
Amazing.
Yeah.
This is all about your book. Also, let people know, or where can they find your
Yeah.
book, Teenage Chronicle? Where
So-
can they find it?
They can find it in a lot of bookstores like Crossword, and then main like Amazon India. That's the main place.
Amazing. And if you are watching this episode and you want to go ahead and get this book, purchase this book, the link will be in the bio, in the description. So you can definitely go ahead and purchase the book. And with that book, with all the conversations that we had so far, Saania, I have some like interesting questions lined up for
Yes.
you. Okay. And this is again keeping in mind a lot of me when I was a teenager, the questions that I wanted to ask, the answers I did not get. And a lot of teenagers and adults altogether who are watching this episode.
Yeah.
So we are going to cover a lot about love.
Yes.
You're going to cover a lot about friendships,
Okay.
about insecurities, and a lot of such interesting topics which can definitely help us and guide us to move ahead.
Yes.
Me from this point and to the viewers, whosoever is watching this.
Okay, great.
Okay, so we start with our very first section, which is we want to talk about life. Okay, so I want to understand the very first question. I keep listening and I keep people saying that find yourself. What do you exactly mean by when you say find yourself?
I think when I think about finding yourself, I always think about like what my values are. And I feel like when we are growing up, especially in my teenage years, you start thinking about very slowly, you start thinking about the things or you start noticing the things that start to trigger you, or the things that start to make you happy, or even the things that make you upset, or even like the things that start to matter to you. And I feel like growing up, it's about like finding these things, like basically making your own moral compass. For me, for instance, when I navigated this whole journey of finding myself when I went to college. Like I grew up with this twin sister.
Right.
Like always, her friends became my friends. I was living, not literally, but like sometimes I felt like I was living in her shadow and all that. So when I went
it.
to university, I was like, I need a break free. I need to find who I am. I need to find myself. I need to find what my values are. Maybe they're very different from hers. Maybe they're very different from what my parents think it should be.
Should be. Absolutely.
So then finding myself, I started noticing that things like one of my values would be like curiosity. I don't like believing in things just because I'm told to since
Amazing.
birth.
That is
I hate it. Like
that is so good.
I will never blindly believe in something just because it's like, your family believes in it. Or I'm maybe like ambition. I don't like to settle for me. I don't like I want to like always step a step further.
Absolutely.
Or like self-care and like introversion. That's a big value that I hold. When I was like discovering this whole journey of finding myself, like I don't like talking to people a lot, like 24/7. I cannot. Like every party I go to, I get peopled out. Like that's something I learned about myself after going to college. I was like, I have a handful of very close friends, but in weekends and in like evenings, I like to spend time with myself. I like to do things alone. and I prefer it that way. Like, you know, the difference between loneliness and solitude, I like it. I see it as a strength. So I feel like these kind of things, like finding yourself, it's knowing the things that make you happy, the things that make you angry, the things that matter to you. And you can only really do that when you go away and figure it out for yourself.
Right. Do you think writing this book, Teenage Chronicles, was one of the ways to find yourself?
Yes, 100%. Because I feel like there's so many things that are always, as a teen, bottled up inside you, but they need to come out. They definitely need to come out. And so when I was writing, like you said, I was able to do that. I was able to unabashedly say everything that was at the tip of my tongue or the bottom of my heart, without feeling like judged for it. Like all my insecurities, all my fears, everything I felt, like I said, from school, when I felt like something was seriously wrong with me, like everything was just, it had a space. And I learned a lot of things about myself and in the process of that.
Amazing. So when we talk about this, Saania, a lot of people, as you mentioned, you bottled up everything and then you put it out on your book.
Yeah.
Right. So in today's world also, in today's age as well, there are a lot of people. I'm not just talking about teenagers here. I'm talking about everyone. Okay, like everyone. There is so much that we bottle it up within ourselves and we don't say it.
Yeah.
I want to understand, why don't we say it? Like, why don't people just open it out? Like, just go out and just scream it out. Why don't people do that? Are they scared?
I think there's definitely an element of fear, and they are scared because
Of what?
of being judged. Like, I will tell you, like, when I was in school, I always kept things inside me. Like, I had social anxiety, for instance. I would keep it inside me because I knew that there was a whole like group of people who were extroverts, who were like always popular, and I felt like that's the right way to be. And I felt like if I am bringing this aspect of my personality out, I'll just be judged for it, because like that's not the right way to be.
Right.
So yeah, definitely it's a lot of fear. It's a lot of fear of putting yourself out there because you feel like you're just not good enough.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
And does that bring down your self-confidence as well?
Definitely. I feel like as teens, we always look for external validation. We always look for things around us rather than within us. But as over the years, I realized that, nobody really gets to decide how I get to feel.
Absolutely.
Like literally the only thing that we have in control is our mind. But then with the whole social anxiety thing, I always felt like, okay, what are they going to say? What are they going to perceive me as, when it was really just a battle with my mind?
But why do you think like people are so worried about external validations? Why do they want external validations?
I think
Why do they keep running behind it?
External validation is interesting. So I had this physics teacher in high school, which I actually met because I did a talk in my high school. So crazy. But back in the day, when I was in 9th grade, around 2017, 2018, he told me you should always operate from happiness and not for happiness. And I feel like that's the way that I see external validation, because it's always this kind of like mirage that we're always trying to chase, but we never really get anywhere because you can't please everyone. Until and unless you're like andar se you're happy, you can never really you can never be happy by just relying on others for approval. And I feel like as somebody who has always been a people pleaser,
Right.
always determined my worth based on what other
Others
people
would-
think of me. Now I really see that it's really just like unless and until you can operate from happiness and internally be happy, you can never really be happy by looking for others for approval. Like I feel like we all have this ability to feel whole and complete and alive even when others choose to walk away from our lives. I think we all can feel great even when others think we're dumb. Like
We're dumb.
until and unless we have that mindset, we can never be happy.
But how does this mindset come into the picture? Say anyone who's listening to this episode again, Saania, like everyone is going through this.
Yes.
Trust me, like
Everybody-
everyone is going through
external
this.
validation.
So if you had to tell us, how can someone start working on this, like to get better, to come out of this? Because I see you right now sitting right here, and I see you are so confident right now. And I'm sure you've gone through so much, but you're sitting here with this confidence, how did you manage to come out of this?
Yeah. So I think you always have to go through like all the bad stuff before reaching this awareness. So another sort of thing where always instance where I seeked external validation was when it comes to like my body. My body is going through like a whole roller coaster of phases, and then like when I was skinny, I would look for external validation to feel good. But then when I would listen to their advice and like eat more, even then everyone had a problem. They would be like, "Oh my gosh, you should stop eating." So then I realized, then like khud se you get this awareness that okay, they are never gonna be satisfied. Like again, you're trying to chase something which doesn't have a destination. If I look in the mirror every day and I'm happy with what I see, then really the only approval that matters is
Yours.
what I grant to myself,
Absolutely.
mine, not anyone else's. And so I feel like this awareness and this understanding really came after so much people pleasing, so much not being able to say no, so much external validation that after a while you're like, they are never going to be happy. And then you stop trying because then you realize that you're wasting your time. Like now I will never look at what my relatives have to say about how I look because I know I look good. Like if I feel good, then
Absolutely.
I look good. Then I know
Absolutely.
I am good.
I'm so motivated with this,
Yeah.
Saania. So, if you have to give one advice to people, what is that one advice to all the teenagers, to all the adults listening to this episode? What is that one advice would you give them?
Like around external validation or just general?
Just in general, like how to move ahead in life, how to be strong and just not think about things,
Yeah.
whatever is bothering you right now, not think about what people say,
Yeah.
not think about what people think of you. What advice would
Yeah,
you
I
give?
think one thing to keep in mind is we all may have our weaknesses, we all have our strengths. But really, if there's like, that's the one thing we share, like, is that we are all flawed. Like, I look at my sister, there are so many things that she has that I think that I'll never be. She's this most out, like, literally, I was in London with her a couple of weeks ago, and she's like the life of a party. Like, that is her strength. She's so empathetic, so outgoing, always putting people first. But then I realized that okay, maybe that's not my strength. But there are so many things that I am good at. I'm introspective. I enjoy my alone time. Mainly, I am comfortable with
Absolutely.
enjoying my own company, and so the fact that we all have our flaws just shows that we should never be comparing ourselves to anyone, and we should never be seeking external validation because it's the one thing we share, that we are so imperfect, like each and every one of us. And I feel like learning that and seeing that just puts a lot of weight off your shoulders. Yeah.
And I think with that, to everyone, no one is perfect here.
No one.
Not me sitting here, not Sania, not anyone. So if you feel at any point that you've started comparing yourself to others in a way that okay, he's so perfect or she's so
Yeah.
perfect and I am not, they are earning so well, I am not, stop with that. I think everyone will grow through life and they will be a better person as they keep
Yeah.
moving forward.
Definitely. Yeah.
Right, great. With that, I want to come down to one of my very favorite parts, which is my genre also, and I love talking about it.
Okay.
Okay, first of all, I want to know, what is love to you, Sanya? What is love to you in your life?
Oh, for me, love is. I just feel like it's a promise we make to someone.
Oh.
Like I know in today's day and age we are so there's a lot of like casual approach to commitments and all that, which we can get into later. But for me, I feel like love is about showing up. It's about showing. It's never the little things. It's all never the big thing. It's always the little things that add up to this big thing. It's like tiny acts of things that you do for the people you love. For me, like that is love.
Have you been in love, Sanya?
I don't think so.
You have not?
I've definitely confused my hormones and feelings for love, but I don't think I've been in love. No.
So now with that, like anyone who is trying to find love, Sanya, and in today's generation, as you mentioned, love has become so transactional instead of like actually being in love. And why are we headed towards transactions when we can actually find? Because I remember during our mom's time, during our father's time,
Yeah.
the love was so beautiful. Like
It was so real.
It was so real. It was so giving.
Yeah.
Okay. And in today's age, like, if you give me, only then I will give you.
Yeah.
It has become very transactional. And so why is it happening? Why are we headed towards that?
I definitely agree because even in my experience, like not even like romantic love, but in friendships, it was never. I realized a lot of my relationships, it was never about. It was always I or you, or like you did this, I did that. It was never about we. So then it became so transactional, and I think it's a lot like got to do with how like my parents, they keep telling me back in their day they were like each other's only one. Like they they met in this small city where literally the first person they met and got close to, they were just like like my parents, they met each other in high school at
Wow.
at the age of 16. So then they didn't really they made that extra effort to like win each other.
Win each other.
But now I feel like it's become so like, okay, if not this person, then I'll just like move on to the
Exactly.
next. And so we stop trying, we stop giving that commitment, and it's just become so less, it's become less genuine, I think.
So your parents, as you mentioned, they started dating at the age of 16.
Yeah, they were like high school sweethearts.
And how long did they date?
I think so. After high school, when they graduated, I think they went a little separate ways, but then they came back to each other at like 23.
So
or
before getting
something.
married, how long were they together?
I feel like 4 or 5 years.
Amazing, yeah.
Yeah.
That is so sweet.
I find their love story really too good to be true kinds. Like when they tell me how they would literally chup ke want, like, those dial telephones and all, they would want to talk to each other, they would send each other love letters. Like, when does that happen anymore?
Have you read any of those love letters of your parents? Please tell me you have.
I read a couple because my dad like still keeps it in the ancient suitcase, but it was just so like they put so much efforts into each other to make it last. They're actually like opposite religions, so it was really difficult back then.
Right.
But then just it was literally like true love in the face of adversity kind of thing. Like they never gave up, and it's just like I wish like love was like this in today's world.
I am sorry to ask you, but please spill some tea from those letters. We want to know, what did your dad write or
So
what did
my
your
mom,
write?
my mom, she was like obsessed with my dad's husky voice.
Oh!
And I feel like a lot of girls, they fall for a man's voice. So my dad used to like tutor my mom, like teach her like chemistry
Are you
and stuff.
serious? Oh my god!
And then she used to say like, "Oh my god, I just love his voice." And then my dad loved my mom's like softness and innocence. He would say like she's the most beautiful girl in the whole town. And she can like, they were just like made for each other. They were.
Right,
And
right.
they I still in today's whenever like we meet family and friends, they are still like madly in love with each other.
Amazing, yeah. It's so good to trust me. Like, I'm someone who is a big time lover boy. Okay, and I respect all of these relationships. Someone
Yeah.
who has put in efforts to come so
Yeah.
far and getting married, staying a happy life. It just fills your heart with joy.
It really does.
And when we talk about a 14-year-old or 15-year-old or 16 years old in today's age, they think we can only find love when they grow older. I want to ask from you, Saania, again. Do you think someone who is in their a teenager, can find love when they are teenagers, or it only comes to someone who is a grown-up?
So I definitely feel like there are exceptions, but the way I see it is mostly when you are a teenager, it's more about finding what love is all about rather than finding true love.
Yes.
And more importantly, finding yourself. like I mentioned with there's this whole, situationships and everything.
I hate situationships.
I hate them. So I realized after going through one, I realized that we can literally pass by somebody who we have told our deepest, darkest secrets to, and who's like, kissed every inch of our bodies, and then act
Shit.
like they're strangers and act like we don't know them.
Shit.
But this casual approach to commitment, for me, it's like not love. For me, I realized that For me, it's like all about true love, being a commitment. It's about a promise we make to someone. It's about, letting ourselves be vulnerable. So then I feel like in teenage years, it's more about experiences. It's more about finding what you're okay with and what you're absolutely not okay with. Like, I realized this is absolutely not what I'm ever going to do again.
Absolutely.
Rather than just finding true love, it's more about, okay, what are my standards? What will I be okay with? What will I not? And then after going through this whole good, bad, and ugly,
You've been through a heartbreak, Saania.
kind of, yeah.
How did it feel?
I wouldn't say like heartbreak because I've never really been in an actual relationship.
But heartbreak does not actually mean you need to be in a relationship.
Yeah.
Heartbreak could also be when you are not in a
When you're
relationship
not.
and you've still been heartbroken.
Yeah.
So you've been in that situation?
Yes, definitely, I have. It sucks, man. it's
Tell me
like
the feeling. Tell me the feeling.
like
How did you feel the very first time when your heart
Yeah.
was broken?
I think when we get so used to someone being around us, and then suddenly they are not there anymore, it feels like a vacuum. It feels like we'll not be okay without them. It feels like something is just pulled away from our lives, and then you just feel empty. Like, that's what a heartbreak feels like. It's like you don't know who you are anymore without this person. And that's why it's so hard, because you feel like your worth because of this person, like they made you complete. But then I feel like that's why heartbreaks are so hard, because you don't know how to be okay when they suddenly choose to leave, or because of certain circumstances can't be together anymore.
I think I've also been in this situation
Yeah.
where you've been heartbroken. You want to cry, but there are no tears coming out, and you're just staying there. You don't know what is happening
You
around
don't
you,
know. Yeah.
and you're just not able to digest the situation. Basically,
Yeah.
like suddenly imagine someone you've been with all this while. You're spending all your days with them.
Yeah.
Suddenly, that person is no more in your
No
life.
more in your life. Yeah.
I think it just breaks every inch of your body,
It really
breaks
does.
everything that you have around you. When we talk about heartbreaks, Saania, how do you think we can start dealing with it? Especially someone who is a teenager again, or someone who is a young adult.
Yeah.
Once their heart is broken, they start giving up on everything. Yaar. Like they will stop studying, they will quit their jobs, they will just corner themselves. How do you think we can deal with a heartbreak in a very positive way?
Yeah. So I think one of my yoga teachers, and she's also my ballet teacher, she's like so close to me. She gave me this like really good advice. Like, when you right after you feel like something as tragic as a heartbreak, just like imagine this person in front of you, in front of your mind's eye, and just say like everything you want to say to them, but you're not actually saying it to them. You're just like letting it all out openly and freely. And then you're just getting everything out of your chest, and in the process you're just forgiving everything and forgiving everyone. And I feel like that has helped me so much, because when we go through a heartbreak, we are so angry. We're like, why did this happen to me? Why is this like, I don't want things to be like this. But then in that process you're just like moving on, and you're just letting go. And then another thing that, like, a few weeks after, like, heartbreak and stuff, I realized like self-care and self-love is so important. Like, for me, it's like turning every negativity and every any negative toxic emotions you have around that person, about the whole instance, like turn that into self-love to yourself. Like, do things you love. Do the things you love. Go out there, giving yourself time, but get invested in your hobbies. Like, after this kind of situationship ended, I was like, oh my god, I feel so weird without him. But then I started focusing on hobbies that I didn't even know I had, and I was like the happiest person ever. I was like, when you've learned to be so whole and complete with yourself, then like people leaving, it stops affecting you. I got so invested in dance, in ballet, in cooking, in baking, and that was like a distraction, but in the best possible way. So I feel like it's so important to focus on yourself after you go through something like that, because everything about that relationship or that situation will make you feel like you are the problem and like you did something wrong. But then you have to kind of switch perspectives and be like, I'm going to give myself all the love and care that I need to heal from this.
And you should give yourself that space.
you need that space. Like, don't even go and yap about it to your friends. Like, that's not the first thing you do. You just take time to yourself, evaluate things, do the things you love, and slowly get out of that zone.
Did you forget? Did you forgive someone who broke your heart?
Yes. Like, I don't believe in holding grudges and everything, but I feel like forgiveness is important because you ultimately, like, whatever happens, you really just need to take it all as a learning experience. Like, I know this person, even though when things happened, I was so like mad at him, I hated him for such a long time. I was like, this is something, it was also the thing that taught me so much about myself and about love and about the things that I want, the things that I absolutely don't want. So I feel like I forgive in just the way of just letting go and like moving ahead. Next time is gonna be all the more better.
A lot of people are holding on and they are still not able to forgive
Yeah.
people who have broken their heart in the past. So I want to ask from you, Saania, how important is forgiveness?
I think I always believe in forgiveness. Like, I know like everybody is imperfect. Another thing that I realized was like believing in the goodness of this world to some extent, because a lot of the things that somebody does, like how they treat you, they also have their like most of us, like we are not monsters. Most of us, we do things we do because we have a reason for it.
Absolutely.
And the fact that my sort of thinking must have been very different from his, like there's no right or wrong. Maybe if there was somebody more like him, he would have treated that person differently. But it's just like understanding that everyone comes from such different backgrounds, and so just forgiving them because you need to be empathetic to that. Maybe they're not the match for you, but then again, just forgive because nobody out there is like trying to ruin your life.
A lot of people, I think, they hold on and don't forgive. It's not because they don't want to forgive, but it's because they are egoistic.
Yeah.
Maybe they have a lot of ego within them, and I'm definitely sure it has also been built due to all the things that they have gone through in the past. But someone who is not forgiving
Yeah.
because of having that ego problem,
Yeah.
how do you think they can deal with that?
Yeah, I think ego is the most nasty thing. Like, it just makes you believe in this whole self-importance, and because of that, you make yourself suffer and you make others suffer. I think when you're talking about forgiveness and everything, it's so important to let your ego aside. Like, yes, there are so many things that you might have felt bad about, but at the end of the day, it's seeing like people for who they are, and like they are people just like you. And maybe even if you don't talk, you can still forgive them because they're humans. So you really have to believe in that goodness. You have to believe in the fact that everyone makes mistakes, and just stop letting your ego win every time.
My God. and when you love someone, Saania, like I have loved people, and there have been times where I had to let them go.
Yeah.
Not because I wanted to, but because the destiny didn't want us to be together.
Yeah.
So how can we be okay with letting go of people? How can we do that? Because letting go, I think it's the most hardest thing in the world.
It's the hardest. I think I read somewhere in your story only that people, like friends and people like romantic partners, they're like, they can never be a home. They'll always be a flowing river.
Yes.
And I couldn't agree more because I am somebody who has moved around, lived in like 5 different countries. And it's always been a game of letting go. I realized that I can never be entitled to someone to stay in my life forever. There are so many close friends, so many crushes, so many romantic interests that I had to let go of. But I couldn't let them stay. Like nothing I did ever made them stay. So I think it's just learning that when somebody's a part of your life and they're part of your chapter, enjoy with them the most you can. Be grateful for their company. Make the most of it because you know that they're their chapter in your life, but maybe they won't be part of the next. And then you feel that, okay, it's okay to let go and nothing stays forever. Like no one stays forever. It's tragic, but nobody does.
Oh my God. I think there are few lines, Saania, trust me, whenever I'm talking to you, suddenly you're saying something and I'm having goosebumps. Because I've literally gone through a lot.
I know.
Like I've seen these things. I have been in the same situation what you're
Yeah.
mentioning right now.
I know.
So I think it's just good to see that there was a time when I thought I will never be able to move on from this
Never.
person.
Yeah.
But today I sit here and I'm like, shit, I've done it.
Yeah.
Like, I'm past that situation.
It's not the end of the world.
It's not the end of the world. I'm past that situation and I'm in a better place right now.
Yeah.
Trust me, there was a time when I thought, okay, I don't think that I will ever be able to move on from this person.
Exactly.
And I don't want to. There was the situation. But I feel so happy talking to you,
Yeah.
Saania, about this when in a better place, in a better room,
Yeah.
in a better setup like this. I think everything happens for a reason. I believe in that.
Yeah, yeah.
Truly. Do you believe in that?
I do. I think even the people who stay for such a short time, they teach you so much about them, about life, about you, and everything happens for a reason.
Wow. And whenever we talk about love,
Yes.
okay, love is definitely one side where you are talking about your lover. But when we talk about love, we also talk about friendships.
Yeah.
How has friendships been in your life, Sani?
Friendships. So like I said, I've moved around a lot of countries. Maintaining friendships was the hardest thing. So in my book, I talk about like the idea of friendship is almost like a tree. So people in your life are part of a tree. So you have the leaves, you have the stems or the branches, and you have the roots. So roots are the people who, stay no matter the weather, and they are the ones, they will never be many in number because they are like what you call your close friends. And so I feel like over time, over the years, whether I was in India, whether I was in Cape Town, whether I was in Dubai, there have only been very few people who have stuck throughout, who have actually bothered to maintain that, contact, and both ways, despite, distance, despite other people, so many factors. And so I feel like friendships in my life have definitely been hard in the sense that there was so much instability. But then I've always seen that I know the people even today who care. I never even have to text them every day, but I know they are there. I know they are my roots. And then I'm like eternally grateful for them because I know they're only a handful. I know they're not so many, but they're quality friendships. I can talk to them. I will literally call one person, like this one friend of mine, when I'm going through something, and he'll do the same, and we'll just like listen. Like even now, every Wednesday we send each other 2-minute video updates. We started doing that recently.
Amazing.
But it's just like to keep that friendship going. We don't talk every day, but we know we are there for each other no matter what other new people we meet.
Amazing. And I think when you talk about this, I realize that as you grow older, you start losing more people in life.
Definitely.
So I think when you were a teenager, when you were in school, you had, say, 50 friends.
Yeah.
When you are 15, you have, say, 30 friends.
Yes.
When you are 20, you have, say, 20 friends. When you are 22, you have 10 friends. When you are 25, you have 5 friends.
Yes.
But those 5 friends are the quality
They
friends
are
you would want.
quality friends.
So I realized as you grow in life, the number of people in your life keeps decreasing.
They decrease.
But you start finding that these are your real people.
Yes.
Your real ones will always stick by
like
you.
probably the 30, like you mentioned, half of them wouldn't even be real.
Exactly. And do you think this is good? Like losing people when you grow older?
I think it's for the best because I notice, at least in my life, maintaining friendships is hard. If you are juggling so many friendships, you are literally going to go crazy. So then when I find that, okay, these are the people who actually matter to me, these are the people I'll show up for no matter what, it's good only that they're less in number.
Yeah.
So I think it's a great thing, just identifying people who really matter versus people who, they were just so superficial. They didn't really add any value to your life. They were there just for the sake of, being there. I always focused on quality over quantity.
And when you talk about friendship, Saania, what is true friendship to you?
True friendship, definitely one element of it is empathy. I think empathy is like the bedrock of any relationship you make in life. I learned a lot about empathy from my sister. Like I told you, she's the empathy queen. Everyone used to call her Miss Mood Rings in 7th standard because she could just understand everyone's emotions. But I feel like for friendships, it's always the little things that you do for the people you love.
Absolutely.
Or the people you care about, to show them that you care. So whether it is being happy for somebody, being happy about the things that your friend is happy about, and more importantly, showing that happiness, even if you don't give a shit, even if you don't care. Like my friend, once she was telling me about this family trip she had in Vancouver. And I was out of it. I literally, I was thinking about something else. But then I realized, okay, there's a reason why she is telling me this. Like, people have intentions. Listen to those intentions. Even if you don't care, just listen to them, because there's a reason why they're not like
telling it to someone else and telling it to you.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Or like empathy, in the sense, like, if you are in a group of friends, and you can see that your friend is being excluded, or because for her or him the conversation is like flown to another galaxy,
right.
like, why can't you, like, you including them, making that effort, it's like, that's what empathy is, like, putting yourself in the shoes of others. And to me that means so much, like, when somebody does that. Even when I'm walking home late in Seattle, I told you it's so unsafe, and then my friends like text me when you get home, and then when I don't text them, like, they text me to make sure that, like, I'm fine. Like, that is such a beautiful
joyful
thing.
moment.
It's such a joyful moment. Like, they're so empathetic, they care about me. It's like the most beautiful thing.
Wow.
Yeah, so I think empathy is definitely something.
And it's so difficult to find such friends.
It's very difficult.
And when, as I mentioned, everything has become so transactional in today's world.
Yeah.
Finding true friends is so difficult.
It's so hard. Like, somebody who's genuinely interested in your life. Like, when in a world where there's so much ego, everything's like me. Why would you care about somebody else's? But when people do that, it's like, I have found a gem.
Right. How do you differentiate between good friends and toxic friends?
Yeah, so I feel like, again, toxic friends, they will never ever have your best interest. But good friends, they know that what makes you happy, what makes you sad, and they'll never ever, like, use that against you. But toxic friends, on the other hand, they're like, you, like, through meeting them again and again and again, you'll realize that they actually really want to see me succeed. Like, they want to see me fail.
You're right.
Like, I had one friend who, no matter what I was going through, she would just never be happy for me, or she would always like manifest that in the form of envy, instead of actually, like, celebrating that win with me, or celebrating that happiness with me. Then they're toxic, because the world revolves around them. It doesn't, like, you are just you don't mean anything to them, and that just becomes so toxic, because you're like, I need people who are genuinely happy for me. I need people who I can celebrate my wins with, who will be happy for me. But then some people just everything's about them.
One thing you've learned over the years, as you've grown, like, one thing you've learned as you've grown about friendship.
One thing is obviously the fact that you can never really have somebody stay in your life forever. Again, I would come back to this, because I feel like I'm somebody who used to get so emotionally attached to people.
We are on the same page.
I'm somebody, like, if she's my friend, she'll always have to be my friend. But people move on. Like, I had this really close childhood friend. We would go to water parks together every weekend. But then over the years, we drifted, because I moved a lot. We did different college experiences and everything. But then I just wasn't able to accept the fact that, things aren't the same.
Right.
Like, now when I talk to them, it's like we're just not on the same page. But learning to let that go, and learning that this is part of life. Like, people leave and there's nothing you can do about it. I think that's the hardest things about friendship. It's the ugliest thing as well, because you want people, like, I shared a whole history, a whole past with this person, but now I can't even, like, look at them and, like, feel, they don't even feel that way with me. And accepting that is, like, really hard.
And with that, I believe in one thing, Saania, that we all talk about breakups.
Yes.
We all talk about heartbreaks, like breakups and relationships and everything. We all talk about breakups, but no one talks about the breakup that we have with our friends.
Oh my God.
Like, I think losing friendship is harder than a breakup nowadays.
100% agree. And I relate to it so much, because I actually went through this like a few months ago. And it's been the hardest thing. It was with one of my flatmates. We were like extremely close. But then we realized like our values and our definitions of giving and receiving love was very contrasting. So ultimately we sort of it, now we are like not close
You're not
friends
in touch
anymore.
at all?
We are in touch because we live together, but
But you're not as
but we are
close
not.
as...
Not at all. Like that closeness, that, you know, telling each other all about all our secrets, like none of that's there
And
anymore.
why did this happen? Like, if you don't
Yeah,
mind?
it was so I'm somebody, it might be too personal. I'm somebody who if I'm like close with somebody, I expect like them to you know, check in on me from time to
Absolutely.
time.
Absolutely.
Not as a way to like, you know, just because they are my friends, like because I care about them, they care about me. But she was like, okay, there's other ways of showing love, that you care about somebody other than that. So then there were like a lot of little things where we realized that our definitions of what it means to love somebody is very different. And I think it's so hard, like a friendship breakup is so hard, because we were two people who used to talk about like, you know, romantic, like each other's romantic breakups, each other's crushes, and we never knew that we would be the ones to hurt each other like that.
Right.
And that it just hit like the same spot as a breakup would, but like 10 times deeper.
Oh my.
So I definitely agree. Friendship breakups are something that's never talked about, but it's the hardest thing. Like you rely on your girl besties. Like me, for instance, I rely on them for emotional support, more doing things, fun things together. But then when you lose that, it's like, it's tragic.
I so relate to this, and with that, I'm so happy to. I'm so grateful to have such friends in my life nowadays.
Yeah.
I've said this on a lot of podcasts, Saania, that I was someone who never respected friendships, say 2 years back.
Yeah.
Like I was too much into my career and too much wanting to just grow and
Yeah.
not give a lot of importance to friendship. But over the years, I've learned that you should be grateful for the kind of friends that you
Of
have.
course.
Now, when we talk about being grateful in life, Saania, what is being grateful for you? And what do you think about it?
Yeah, gratitude. Oh my gosh, so important. Like when I feel like there are 100 things going wrong in my life, I always take a moment, step back, and say, okay, what are the few things that are actually going right? And I think that is what gratitude is. There are so many things, so many big things that we keep, you know, okay, get a job, make a living, you know, hit your goals. But then there are so many small wins that we never, that we
Absolutely.
forget
That
to
we forget to
appreciate.
publish.
Yeah, like I know that my dream career is a marketing job in Disney, but
Wow!
yes, that's
Amazing.
always been my dream. Like storytelling, I think it's the master of storytelling, Disney. But in the process of achieving that goal, I can't literally lose sight of the small things that are actually getting me there.
Absolutely.
So I know, like when I you know, take a step to even, like, you know, get the fact that I got out of bed today,
Right.
the fact that I showed up over here, the fact that I'm traveling so much to make something good out of myself, for myself. Like you always have to be grateful for these
Absolutely.
things. Even like a couple of months ago, my granddad passed away.
Oh, shit.
And then it was like a tough time for all of us. But then I think the older we get, the more we realize that it's always the little things. I remember I was like we all were, he was going through obviously a really hard time.
He was in India?
Yeah, in Mumbai only. So
Right.
everyone, when they're on their deathbed, they go through such a hard time, but not for 1 second he thought about, like, you know, career and all that. He just wanted his family around him.
Wow.
Like he said, "Mujhe bas, like I just want you guys around me. Like that's all that matters." And then when you see that, okay, like a dying man saying that this is all that matters, just shows even more that it's always the little things. Like, but we always take our parents for granted, you know, as teenagers and as young adults. We start taking these little things for granted, but then we realize that these little things are what keep you alive. These little things are what matter at the end of the day, as I clearly saw that day. So gratitude, it's like every day you should take a moment to breathe and see what you're grateful for, because you realize there are so many things that in this whole constant hustle life to get job, to get like into a destination, you lose sight of it. But you absolutely shouldn't.
I think thank you so much, Sania, for mentioning this
Yeah.
particular point. I think we all have been running behind careers and we've been running behind getting fame, getting money.
100%.
That we don't focus on the little things that we already have.
We have, yeah.
And the instance that you gave of your grandfather, that he was in the deathbed,
Yes.
all he wanted
All
was
he wanted.
his family. So I think end of your life, family is the only thing that is going to
Yeah.
stay constant.
Exactly.
You are not going to worry about what fame you had, what money you have. It is the family that is going to stay with you.
100%, yes.
And in this hustle culture, we are all running behind getting the perfect job, earning a lot.
Yeah.
How do you maintain that, keeping in mind, have you ever felt that you are not good enough in a way where everyone around you is doing so well and you are still here? Maybe you are absolutely doing amazing, Saania. Okay, you are an author, you are traveling countries, you've been killing it with life, but you still have that fear of everyone around you is doing so well and you are not.
I think we all feel this way. I've definitely like, okay, now I have published a book, but now I want it to be a bestseller. Or like, if it becomes a bestseller, now I want to do a second edition.
So it never stops.
It never stops. It's like the hedonic treadmill. It's like when you get somewhere, you always want more. So I feel like the way I see being not good enough as, it's like always focusing on the progress, but not like perfection. Like perfectionism, I feel like it's a myth, it's an illusion. So many times when we are trying to reach this imaginary destination, we lose sight of the little things that are actually going to get us there.
Absolutely.
Like the progress. Like even my teachers, they've always reminded me, okay, grades and all are important, but focus on excellence, not perfection, because ultimately we all want to get better, we all want to sharpen our skills. But don't forget that when you're just like constantly seeing the end goal.
I think I personally feel that there is no destination in life.
There's no.
Whenever you reach that place, you realize that it's a milestone.
Yes.
And suddenly you see another milestone in front of you.
There's
Again, you
always-
think that's a destination. You reach there and again, you see another milestone.
Yeah.
So I think you never reach the destination because as humans, we keep chasing in life so much. We want the next thing. We want the next thing. We want the next thing. How do we stop this chase? How can we do that?
I think again it's about focusing on what you already have. Like if I looked back like 10 years ago, and I would see that okay, like 10 years later I have published a book. Like that is an accomplishment. So I feel like just knowing and being aware of what you already have and what you already achieved, something that maybe 10 years ago you would never thought you would have achieved.
Absolutely.
That's very important. And then always focusing on like baby steps. Like there's like of course there's the whole hustle culture and all, but then you really have to like in the process of that you can't stop living. You can't stop appreciating the things that are coming your way and absorbing them fully. Yeah, I feel like that's very important.
But aren't we all insecure about a lot of things? So even when I want to achieve something, say something that I love and I want to go for it, I'm a bit insecure about will I be able to do it? Or I start doubting myself so much. How can we end this insecurity within ourselves?
I think insecurity, it's like always, it's this like voice behind our constantly in our back of our mind saying that you will never ever make it. So many people out there are so much more deserving of like I've always faced this thing called imposter syndrome, which is feeling like you're a fraud, feeling like you will always end up making a fool out of yourself. Like I know this Sheryl Sandberg, the COO of Facebook, in her book Lean In, she also talks about this, like the fact that such successful people, they also go through imposter syndrome. She's like she always had this people pleasing tendencies. She would never say no to people, but then she realized that okay, this is actually holding me back. Like all the success she wanted to achieve, the insecurity was always holding her back. But then she talks about like overcoming it and everything. But I feel like with insecurities, it's all about telling yourself that really action is going to cure that. If you're never gonna take the step to try it out, you will never know what's on the other side. Like I had so much fear of public speaking when I was younger. But now that I've done it, the whole Pune Lit Fest, the whole school visits, the university visits.
It's so wholesome.
It's so wholesome. And it's like, it was really just, like my fear was an illusion. It was like just telling me that I'm not going to be able to do this when literally I didn't die. Nothing happened to me. If anything, I got better each time.
Yes.
So it's just like doing one thing every day that scares you. Even if it feels like it's the last thing you want to do. Just like I feel like we all are so much stronger than we think, especially when it comes to fear of failure or fear of not being good enough. It's what you tell yourself, but then when you really take action towards it, you realize that you're capable of like so much. Like now I wouldn't say I'm 100% comfortable with public speaking, and maybe I'll never be, but I'm definitely not that the backbencher in the class who would never speak up, who would be too afraid to raise her hand. I'm not that person anymore. And like honestly, you feel proud when you've come there.
I'm so happy, Saania. Like you've come a long way, and I can see that. Like when you are mentioning of what you've gone through, being a backbencher, not speaking up, having like always thinking that you're a big time introvert. Now going to different places, and speaking and talking to them about your book. It's amazing. How do you feel like how the way you've grown over the years, Saania? If you have to just tell me that in one line, how would you do that?
I think I had always been somebody who would never feel good enough, but then every time I have done something that made me uncomfortable, I've only been happier. Like I realized that everything that I want is on the other side of this fear. And now that I've seen that, I just want to do more of it. Like I welcome it with open arms now. If somebody invites me to give it, like yesterday I was in front of my high school that I studied in. I was talking to now the 9th and 10th graders. I was like telling them that I was in your shoes. Like I welcome that opportunity with open arms.
Wow.
And I actually enjoyed that.
Now you're enjoying it because you've gone through it. You've faced it. You've faced your fear. Maybe somewhere down the lane, something that you are scared of right now, you will be able to overcome that as well. And it is all about taking the step and going for it. If you don't take the step, you will never know. So there is this one line by Coldplay, and I love Coldplay, and this is one of the lines he says in one of his songs. If you never try, you'll never know.
Yes.
And I think that line has stuck with me for like forever. Because this is the reality. People who are sitting at homes just thinking I can do better are the ones who are not taking a step.
Exactly.
People who have come out of that fear, taken the step, are the ones excelling in life. So I think this is one quote you should all put up on your walls. I have it on my wall. If you never try, you'll never know.
I'll put it on my wall.
I think it's a beautiful quote. If you never try, you'll never know.
Yes.
So just go and do it. Just do it, guys. So with that, Saania, thank you so much. We are almost towards the end. But before that, I have a surprise round for you.
Okay.
Which is called a rapid fire round. Okay.
Of course.
So this is one rapid fire round. I have it in every episode of mine. The rules are very simple. Question and you answer as quick as possible.
Yes.
Okay. Are you ready, Saania?
Yes, I'm ready.
Okay, so this is rapid fire round by Unset Feeling with Shanky. Have you ever ghosted someone?
No.
Has someone ever ghosted you?
Yes.
That was very honest. Who's your Bollywood style perfect love story?
Bollywood what?
Bollywood style, like a couple that you really admire from Bollywood, who's your perfect love story?
Oh, okay. I love Alia Bhatt and
Ranveer
Kapoor.
Wow. Money or love? What's hotter?
Love. Wow. I'm a hopeless romantic.
Wow. Okay.
I love love.
You love love. We love love. If your life had a theme song, what would it be?
Last Friday night.
Oh, can you sing it for us?
I'm not a singer. My
Just
sister.
little bit, just
my
little bit.
sisters.
Just a little bit. Just a line. Go for it.
It's like last Friday night we danced on tabletop. It's fun.
It's fun. It's fun.
Yes.
Okay. One rule you'd break every day if there were no consequences.
Oh my gosh, these are hard. One rule I'd break. Okay, so I hate like dressing up. I would just show up in my pajamas everywhere.
Oh, wow.
I love comfort over anything.
Amazing.
Yes.
Crazy. That's a good
I
one.
would show up in an interview wearing my pajamas.
I would love to see you like that then.
Yes.
Okay, next one. If life gave you second chance, what would you fix?
I would fix the friendship that went wrong with my flatmate.
Oh my God. I hope
Because she
you're-
really meant a lot to me. Like, I told her all my secrets. She told me all of hers. And then to not have that anymore, like, I would fix it, whatever it took.
I just wish she's watching this episode. I think you should just send it to her. And be
Yeah, I
like,
will send it to her personally,
Yeah.
saying, like, you are the one I'm talking about.
please, like, I think you should just solve it, you two, and make this friendship more beautiful going forward. So I just hope that, and if that is happening, please let me know personally.
Oh my God.
Okay, next one. Best excuse you've ever used to ditch a friend's plan.
I'm too busy focusing on self-care.
Oh!
I love my everything showers. I love my face skincare routine.
That
I
is
would ditch
so-
any plan for it.
Crazy! I think this is to everyone. This is a good way to ditch your friend's plan
Yeah,
and use
yeah.
it next time.
Yes.
I'm going to do that. So all my friends are watching this. Okay, the last one. Okay, the last question of our rapid fire round. What's the craziest thing you've ever done to fit in?
Oh my God. Feel like I've done a lot of crazy things. Well, I remember telling like this group of people who invited me to a party that, oh my gosh, let's we should totally do this again next week. Even though the whole time I was at that party, I was like, ghar jana hai, ghar jana.
I think I've seen this line coming from one of these series. I think, is it Friends or something?
Maybe.
I think, yeah, Phoebe says it.
Okay.
Okay, like she went on a date with someone and then she did not like it. And Phoebe, before leaving, she's like, you should definitely do this
We
again.
should totally do this.
So I think I get your feeling.
Yes.
So
The
with
things
that,
we do for fitting in.
With that, we end this rapid fire round. How do you like it?
I loved it. It was super fun.
Yeah, no?
Yes.
So we are towards the end. Saania, again, before we leave, congratulations to you on your
Thank
book.
you so
And
much.
I really, really, really wish you do amazing and the book reaches millions of people. Okay. And before you leave, I want you to give one message to all our listeners about life, about the journey of life,
Yeah.
about love. One message to all of them.
Okay. So as somebody who is still growing up, and I feel like life is all about you grow more every day. It's always when you look back and think about the things that you thought would absolutely break you, they are the things that actually made you. And even when it happened, that all the social anxiety, the fear of speaking in public, being insecure, at that time I always felt like it's the end of the world. Like things will never get better, but these are the things that when I embraced them, when I accepted them, like I feel like self-mastery, it's all about acceptance. They are the things that made me who I am. They are the things that made me better. So yeah, always embracing challenges, embracing discomfort. That's like that's the way to be.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Amazing. So thank you so much again, Saania, for being here, for motivating us, for
Yeah.
opening our eyes with a lot of things, for giving me goosebumps.
It's my pleasure.
Okay. And for the fun part.
Yes.
Whatever you mentioned. Okay, I'll be waiting for your friend to text me and be
I
like...
will be waiting for that.
So, and this to everyone, guys. If you are holding on because you have a lot of ego and you are not willing to go and fix things again, please do it. This is your sign. Do it. I think just make this world a beautiful place for everyone to live in. With that, thank you so much, Saania.
Thank you so much.
I'll see you in the next episode. Until then, see you and bye-bye. I hope you enjoyed this particular episode and I hope you had a good time listening to this. So if you've learned something from this particular one, don't forget to share this episode with your friends and family. And yes, don't forget to like and comment below. And don't forget to subscribe to our channel, Unset Feeling with Shanky. Because in the future, we are coming up with some crazy content and some crazy guests on the panel.